Hey everyone, back in the park for another community update. Yeah, this one's also going to be fairly straightforward, fairly quick. There's not a ton to talk about. I mean, there kind of is a ton to talk about, but we talked about it during the video feature showcase for the Conquered Frontier update. I think this is the first community update I've done since those videos came out. So yeah, I just want to. It's been a couple months now. Just want to let everyone know where I'm at. It's an absolutely gorgeous day here. You can see the leaves are on the trees now. We're well into spring. Summer's right around the corner. It's a little bit cooler today, which is nice. A little breezy too, so if you hear some of that, I apologize, but maybe right there a little bit. But hopefully my helmet serves as a bit of a windbreak. I also uh, have broken with the Taco Bell tradition a little bit. Went to Sonic, got a cherry limeade with coconut syrup. Very good. Order in the app, get half off. Not sponsored. I do like Sonic though. I really like Taco Bell, of course. I am a little bummed out lately though because I'd gotten to know the manager pretty well of the Taco Bell I go to, and they recently moved her to another location that's a lot farther away. So it's harder to get there on a bike ride. So I'm gonna try around a few other places. Um, just to broaden my horizons, culinary horizons a little bit. But anyway, gorgeous day, great day for a bike ride. You're here for Starscape, presumably. Excuse me. So let's talk about Starscape. Um, so for those who are not aware, on March 7th or so, I announced the Conquered Frontier update, which is an update to the game, which is one of the most consequential in the game's history. I don't know if I'd call it one of the biggest. I mean, it is one of the biggest, of course, because there have only been so many updates, but no, it's one of the biggest. It's huge. It's gigantic. It's player-owned structures. I'm going to say stations at some point during this discussion just because that's what it is also that. It's just kind of a light version of that for the time being. Um, Yeah, and if you haven't already, watch the feature showcase video for the Conquered Frontier. It's an hour long. It goes through all of the major features. And I think what I mentioned there, is that it is completely playable. It's completely functional. About a month after I released that, I think in early April sometime, I released the update onto the public test server. And yeah, it's been great. Gotten a lot of feedback from all of you on everything that's in there. Did a lot of bug fixing and some minor feature work as well. So that is the nice thing at this point is most of the bugs have been ironed out. There are a few that are left, but for the most part, we are in the okay. Let's polish this up. Let's figure out exactly what else this needs to go live. And one of those things was there are some balance issues with like defense platforms and attacking and defending shield towers and structures in general. So we made some passes on that. We introduced siege fuel, which has been great, giving you that 48-hour timer, up to 48 hours timer to have an invulnerable shield tower after it's attacked. But another thing that was really a problem was defense platforms, and they still are in the public test server. The question is like, how do you balance defense platforms? If they're inside the shield, you can just stack a bunch of defense platforms and basically make your shield tower invulnerable because the NPC AI is so much better now. They do a better job of prioritizing targets and stuff like that. So they'll hit you harder than like traditional AI that's currently in the live game will. And that, I mean, that's a problem because how do you defend against that? I mean, you can only think of like cheesing tactics. And we don't want you to have to cheese to take down a structure. You should be able to take it down naturally if you bring enough force. So it's been a lot of balancing there. Sort of no matter what direction we go with that, there's that wind I was talking about. No matter what direction we go there with the defense platforms, one of the things that seemed to be important for balancing them was logistics turrets. So this is a concept where you can target other ships or even structures, NPCs, basically any ship, anything with a health bar in the game. you'll be able to target it with a new type of turret that will heal the target. And this will be currently in the dev build. These are called the shield projector and the hole projector turrets. They work very similarly, except with one big distinction, which is that the hole projector requires ammunition. So you have to consume an item to heal a target. Conversely, the shield projector only uses energy. And so this will introduce an interesting balance, because as we move further and further into the game and development and look at combat and stuff, there will be additional ways to counter these. So there are already ways to counter logistics turrets. So you can use sensor jammer subsystems. You can also think that, okay, so a ship that is running like full shield projector logistics might not be able to be healing itself at the same time, because that also takes energy. And so energy management is going to be bigger for shield logistics, but then at the same time, the whole projector's ammunition is going to take up space in the inventory. It's going to be a consumable, so there's a price associated with it. And so you're going to have to be balancing that as well. I haven't decided exactly how much they're going to be healing. We're going to iron that out during testing in the PTS, but it's fun. It's kind of an interesting way to just sort of add a new wrinkle into fleet combat, because now instead of just bringing combat ships to a fleet combat, you'll also be bringing support ships. That's really cool. And the reason this was important for structures is because if defense platforms are inside the shield, it's a complete necessity to be able to heal and have a logistics network going, so that the defense platforms can be countered essentially, and won't just completely obliterate one ship after another, and having to do like stupid warp out tactics to or like going in and out of range and stuff like that to cheese them. And if the defense platforms are outside the shield, it's still going to be a problem. If we wind up requiring that defense platforms are outside of the shield, which I think we will, because then we'll have a nice like multi-stage siege system where you siege the turrets first, and then they go into a miniature siege mode, like a miniature disabled state for half hour, an hour. But then after you disable those, then you take on the main shield tower. That's a kind of a more fun stage mechanic than just sitting attacking a single shield bubble for an hour, 2 hours with siege mode, with your siege modules, and then having to deal with turrets that you can't counter or that you can't disable in any way that entire time. It'll be more fun, it'll be more interesting. So that's sort of the plan there. I've been working on that for about 2 weeks. I know the dev blog posts have been kind of scarce. There's always a lot going on. I still do have a full-time job, and then family travel, work travel, just a lot going on. So there's been, but it's kind of settling back into a rhythm now, and that's good. I also don't feel too bad that this probably isn't coming out. This update almost certainly is not coming out in May, because I know a lot of you are finishing up school. I don't want you to feel like you're missing out on Starscape because you're doing exams. I don't want your grades to suffer or anything like that, of course. So I don't feel too bad if it releases in June. I'll start to feel bad if it releases in July. So gonna try my best. The logistics turrets are basically complete. Yeah, actually, I think last night I got them feature complete. There's just a little bit of polish on the model effects and stuff that needs to be done, and then those can be released to the public test server. After that, there are a couple small things. Going to combine the cargo depot and the storage silo into a single structure. That's just going to be important because right now you have to deploy. It's like you need to deploy one or the other. Why not just store everything in one? Eventually, I'm going to get rid of the cargo distinction to some extent anyway, and cargo will just be inventory items that take up 500 cubic meters that cannot be stored in the normal Corsac storage system. They'll have like local storage to stations. That's the long-term plan, and so it makes sense to have everything go into a single type of structure from the get-go here. Other than that, I mean, the update's in a good place. There are not too many bugs left. There's some long-standing bugs in the game that, I'm always trying to figure out. Um, I still can't figure out what's up with that shift issue, with shift to zoom on warships breaking after a time. I almost feel like it's a Roblox issue. Something, but I don't know. So that's about all I have to talk about for Starscape. I mean, it's been cool. I had a lot of fun making that trailer. It was great working with Arctic to get all the structures done. Again, I said in the not the trailer, but the feature showcase video that the structures that Arctic made look fantastic. They're very Starscape. They're very modern, though. They just work really well. I think we're just landing in a really good place with this update. And I know, some of you are not as excited about it because there's that perennial question of, I've talked about this so much in the Discord, but there's that perennial question of, well, what's the point? Oh yeah, I mean, it's cool to build structures in wild, but you can just bring your stuff back to secure space. You don't need to store it out there, so what's the point? Or I don't know, I can have an alt log off with a bunch of haulers to store all of my stuff, and so I don't really need a structure. And it's like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but we're gonna be adding on to this with more and more functionality. Like, yes, right now the only super unique bonus to having a structure is that you have the refinery bonus and the ability to refine heavy water, although that's only necessary if you are doing structured gameplay. But I mean, there are a lot of other benefits. I mean, having a place in space where you can't semi-secure place in space where you can store all of your items, not worry about anything for up to 48 hours until that siege fuel runs out, is a big bonus, I think. I think it's just a good way to encourage group gameplay in wild space, which will make wild space more interesting. I think locking it behind the colonization zones is a great idea because there will still be very wild areas of the game outside of those colonization zones. The colonization zones will be great places for activity and raids and what have you. And then there's just the coolness factor, right? At the end of the day, we all play games because they're cool and fun. And hopefully building a structure complex in wild and doing the logistics is interesting and fun enough on its own to encourage people to do it. Although, of course, we're going to be adding more and more features to it over time. I mean, this is just the beginning of structures. We've talked about this before, but there are very concrete plans for a habitat structure to allow you to actually walk in it and then clone into it when you die, which is huge. I mean, that's really what people have wanted for a long time with player-owned stations. We have ideas for doing these structures in secure space and having your own private pockets of space. And then having like passive income sources you can set up for them. There are a lot of ideas, a listening post sort of structure to allow you to see what's going on in different regions of the system you're in, but then also get you an idea of the activity in neighboring systems as well. Eventually, there are really cool ideas, I mean, wormhole stabilizer structures, private warp relays, really, really cool ideas that probably won't, those sorts of things may or may not come particularly soon. Probably not particularly soon. But there's a lot of good stuff coming up, and structures do solve a lot of gameplay loop issues with Starscape. They add basically an endless end game that can be continued to be expanded upon and can be interesting in and of itself and continue to be made more interesting. So it sort of fixes Starscape's gameplay loop where right now you get to a point and it's like, okay, I've done everything. What do I do now? And it's like, okay, well, I can keep doing faction warfare infinitely. I can pirate people. I can just keep building up stockpiles, waiting for structures and stations to release. So that should hopefully relieve some of that monotony. I've also been doing, one of the other reasons that the release has been somewhat slow is because I've been doing some security fixes for Starscape and just adding some additional tooling. So, that sort of background work, some of it's caused by Roblox updates, some of it's caused by other things, and that sort of stuff, I don't talk about much, but that is work going on in the background. So sometimes you'll see that the game has updated and I haven't actually said anything, and that's usually me just pushing an update because Roblox broke something, or I want to add, you know, additional checks for whatever. So that sort of stuff also happens. I'm still the text chat service deprecation that Roblox did is also eating into my time a little bit. It's just there's no good solution right now. The custom text chat service is not configurable enough, and it's not a drop-in replacement, you know, for the legacy chat, which is annoying. So look at that a little bit. So they're just things, you know. This is how it is developing a Roblox game. You don't control the engine, and the engine is not versioned or anything. The API is not, you know, there's no versioning system really, so you have to kind of keep up with the updates that they do. And Starscape, for the most part, does Roblox best practices. It has for a long time, but of course, text chat service didn't exist when Roblox was implemented. So usually the maintenance required when Roblox makes updates is very, very minimal, but for this one, you know, there is a little bit more to do. So let's see. Yeah, that's about all there is for Starscape. I should probably keep this one short. There's so much more I could talk about. I want to make like a standalone video series where I just talk about non-Starscape stuff. You know, thoughts about, you know, I'm kind of people watching right now, and just, you know, watching people go about their daily lives is interesting. You know, stuff springs into mind, but this video is already getting a little long, so, and I should be getting home. So I will cut it off here. But as always, you know, you can reach me in the Discord. I'm pretty active in Alpha Chat and Beta Chat. I mean, I don't always post stuff, but I read a lot of what you say. So, you know, feel free to drop feedback there. Yeah, hopefully more dev blogs coming soon too. And hopefully I'll get this update out to the PTS with the logistics turrets fairly shortly. Yeah, that's it for today. Thank you all for joining me again for another afternoon in the park. I will catch you next time. See ya.